Alright, last video we was talking about the Edge CTS2, and now I'm going to talk about the DiabloSport Trinity T2. So as I mentioned in the previous video, the Edge was just lots of problems with it, so I couldn't get it warranted and get my money back, even though it was defective product since day one. But at least they were kind enough to offer this device here. Again, this is the DiabloSport Trinity T2. So in comparison to the Edge, this one, now after about 7,000 miles, not a single check engine light, no error codes, not even pending codes, nothing. It's been great. So I couldn't go before 10 or 15 miles using the Edge to tune this vehicle. So now it's at least the tune seems right. Well, look at this. Just speaking of some problems, apparently the ambient air temp is 248 degrees. So yeah, it's got a few problems. I'm gonna reach up here and reset it. I actually have to unplug it and plug it back in, and we'll let that boot up. But anyway, so as far as just the tuning, much better than the Edge. I can actually use a tune. Put the 87 tune in it when I got it. Again, been traveling all over the Southeast, several thousand miles, and no problems yet. I was offered a couple different products from the company that owns Edge, also owns DiabloSport and some others. So I chose this one mainly because on their website it said it had a tow tune. So I thought that's really what I want, is I want to be able to set one tune, just leave it. I'm always hauling something, always towing something. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I drive 50,000 miles a year. I don't want to be, changing back and forth. I don't want the best performance, but then have to put a tow tune in it to be safe. I just put something in it, correct the tire size, have the gauges to monitor the vehicle, and just leave it at that. So, website list a tow tune. When I got the device, this is what it looks like when it starts up. And you go to tuning. There was no tow tune listed. I talked to DiabloSport, called them about it, and they said it was apparently a website error. They did have me go through and make sure the firmware was updated, latest tune revision, all that stuff, but that wasn't the problem. They eventually just come back and said it was just a mistake on the website. So anybody that's looking for this product for a 17 F-150, just know that ahead of time. There is no tow tune option. You got 87, 91, and 93, or you can modify the stock tune by maybe changing tire size, auto start stop feature. I don't know. There's a few things. I'll click on it and we'll see if it'll let me look at it without actually going through the process. So if I said change, it looks like I can change tire size, gears, switches and stuff like the auto start stop, which that feature does not work. I've tuned the vehicle with that switch in the on position, I've tuned it in the off position, and it does not work. So the auto start stop feature still functions as Ford intended. Speed limiters, and so it looks like you can at least modify the stock tune. But anyway, there is no tow tune like they listed. So let me get out of here. I'm going to go back to the gauges. That's usually where this thing stays. And this time I unplugged it so it started up on that menu screen, but it always starts up from the second time and then on the gauges, which I like that. Some of the issues I had right out of the box, other than it not having the tow tune, which was expected, going through the setup of all the gauges, there was, I don't know, a dozen times or so this thing would freeze up. Oh, look, here we go. All right, ambient air temp, 36 degrees. It was 200 outside earlier, I guess. So at least that's fixed. You can't hardly go through the setup procedure setting any of these things without it freezing, and then you have to unplug it and, you know, wait for a few seconds and then wait for it to boot back up. That was just kind of a hassle. But after an hour of going through all this and getting it set up, it hasn't been a problem. It hasn't been freezing. Just it auto powers up. I can view the gauges. Auto powers down. I hadn't had any trouble. Some other things that you can set. You can see here there's a red line, yellow line. You can set warnings. So, for example, if boost gets over 20 psi in this vehicle, I will get an audible alarm, and you can see these 5 white dots up here. They will turn red. It'll flash, beep. So you can set that up for a lot of different gauges if you wanted to. You know, I guess you could do it for pretty much any of them. But one of them that they've made a mistake on, and I have already told them about this. Come on. By the way, I'd mentioned in the Edge, the touchscreen was terrible. This touchscreen seems to be a lot better as far as the response and the sensitivity. Okay, so I'm looking at battery voltage, and this little button here will let you set the warnings. And you see right now it's set on 14 to get an alert. Well, why would anybody really want to know if their battery was above 14? So if I turn this down, let's say to, well, let's just set it at 13 and just see what happens. I'll hit save. They've got this gauge backwards. I want to be able to set it at 12 or 11.8 or something, and if it goes below that, I'd like to have an alert. However, I don't know if you can tell, but it's just barely below 13. So let me go back in. They've got it backwards. If the battery voltage is over this set point, then you get the alert. So when I had tried to set this, let's say on 12, that's when I'd like the alert. You'll see what happens. Okay. Well, I didn't see an alert that time, but not real sure why. Oh, okay. That would be the reason. Alert. I've got it. I've got the alerts off. So let me go back in and hit save. So that's no good. So their alert for the battery voltage doesn't work. Should be a simple fix. Hopefully that can get resolved in the next update. So let me turn that stuff off. Go back here. Another thing that I wish that I had the option of viewing in all these gauges is I would love to have transmission temperature. So I know it's a PID that's available. I use it with a Bluetooth scan tool, and I can view it on my iPhone or iPad or something. So that would be something that I've actually emailed them and asked them for. Another one would be the charge air cooler temp. That would be a good one to have. So I also put that one in the email. One of the biggest complaints though is if you're wearing some nice sunglasses, polarized. I happen to have some Maui gems. I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera or not, but when looking through glasses, you can see absolutely nothing. Of course, putting them in front of the camera, I can see. But anyway, wearing the glasses with the brightness on this screen turned all the way up, you can see absolutely nothing. So that's kind of a pain, especially I know it's going to be worse in the summertime, whereas I'm always driving with sunglasses on. You can't see anything at all. What else? I already said that the auto start stop feature doesn't work. I wonder if it'll let me look and see what that is set on right now. The other thing that I guess you could call it a complaint, I think the tunes on this vehicle are a little bit too powerful maybe for someone like myself. I want to put a tune in, like I mentioned earlier, and just leave it. I don't feel comfortable towing with this tune in here. It's really powerful. I see the temperatures rise too much. So right now it's got the 87 tune in it just because I was trying that one, but when I hook up to a trailer I return to stock. I'm just not real comfortable with it. Let's see. It's probably not going to let me look at what I've got set. It might. I haven't tried the 93 tune. I did try the 91 tune. Didn't feel that much different. The 91, versus 87. It both felt fairly similar. I think the website lists like 50 horsepower or something with the 87 tune, which in my opinion was a little too much. With the Edge, I think their tow tune was, I don't know, 25, 30 horsepower or something. It was, to me, it felt right where it needed to be. I would like to have a small bump in horsepower and torque, firm shifting, better grade shifting, and then that would be a tune I could just leave alone. So I've sent that request in. Maybe we'll get that. But so far, this product is a lot better than the CTS2 from Edge. Hopefully, in the future updates, we'll get some of the other things that I'd asked for. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, want to see anything else on either one of these devices, put a comment down below and I'll try to answer the questions. But again, this product review only on F-150 EcoBoost 2017. Thanks, guys.